Welcome back to Cyberology, Dakota State's podcast for all things cyber and technology. I'm Jen, and my co-hosts today and every day.
Every time we record, huh? Yep. Lily out balloon. Oh, gosh.
Ooh, still learning that married name.
Still learning it, yep.
Okay. Well, congratulations again. And we have brought back The Jong. He is the Dean of the College of Education and Human Performance, which is a new name as well. So welcome back, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to give us a refresher?
Yeah, so my name is The Jong. I was born in Northwest Iowa, so not far from here. I have a wife and 3 boys, one in high school, middle school, and elementary school, so that keeps us all busy because they're involved in a lot of sports and activities, so we chase them around right now in this stage of life. And I started my career, I taught 3rd and 4th grade for a few years, and then I was a principal and superintendent for 8 years, and then I was a faculty member and a chair for 8 years, and now I've been a dean. This is my 3rd year. So I love DSU, I love who we are and where we're going, so I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely.
So what are some exciting things you're doing as dean right now?
We have a lot of things going on right now, and it's mostly just because our adjuncts, instructors, and faculty are crushing it. So we're trending in the right direction in a lot of ways. So, for example, we just changed our name from the College of Education to the College of Education and Human Performance, and all that does is it really the name change signifies exercise science as a very important part and pillar of our college. And it also helps sets us up for the future. So with human performance, we're getting into biomechanics and the combination of biomechanics and technology, specifically artificial intelligence. We're building a new biomechanics lab in the new facility that'll be state of the art, and our students will be able to do research in there and rehab in there and train in there, and we'll be able to research what's going on. So that's pretty exciting in itself.
There's some huge developments.
Yeah.
There are, yeah. That's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. We're going to have to go take a tour.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Maybe get
the
some
new
rehab
facility
services while there.
Yeah. And then with teacher education, we just revised some curriculum. That was a 1.5-year process for us, and that's going well. And then we just earlier this week welcomed round 2 of the teacher apprentices into the pathway, and we'll talk more about that here today. So thank you.
Absolutely. So with the Teacher Apprenticeship Pathway program, why don't you tell us a little bit about how that all developed and got started in the first place?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I was looking at the data of how many graduates were coming from our state universities in teaching and how many were leaving the profession in South Dakota. And I couldn't even sleep that night. I was like, I know that teacher shortage is bad. Yeah, but I knew it was bad. I just didn't know it was catastrophic and trending in that way. And what that looks like today is I'll talk to a principal or superintendent. I talk to lots of them, and a job that they used to have 50, 60, 70 applicants for, they'll have 0, 1, 2, or 3 applicants for, just 10 years later. So that's a crazy change in the amount of applicants that are out there. So I cold called all my friends in my LinkedIn profile. I'm like, what are other states doing to address the teacher shortage? And the number one thing that people talked about was teacher apprenticeships, and I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what it was. And so I figured out which states are leading the way, and I went and I studied what they were doing, and then I called them and I talked to them. And then I decided, I said, you know what? We have an online teacher education program. There isn't a apprenticeship pathway in our state. If we don't do it, who will? And the answer was nobody. So I was like, we need to go on this apprenticeship pathway. So I reached out to our state's Department of Labor out of the blue, and they said, hey, we want to help you, and we have a little grant money to get you started. And then the Department of Education caught wind of that, and then they said, we have a pile of money from COVID dollars that we want to put towards this. And then I knew things were moving quickly. And the regional educational lab, that's part of the U.S. Department of Ed, contacted me out of the blue and said, we want to join you and we can help with free consulting. And then the Board of Regents wanted to be a part of it, and they were a great help. And so I found myself quickly in the middle of a pretty big snowball going down a hill. But it's working. It's going really well.
How did it feel to have so many people jump in on your idea and want to participate?
Well, I mean, it wasn't my idea. I stole it from other states.
That's where all good ideas
I'm really
come
good
from.
at that, though.
There's the CASE conference for higher education, and the joke of it is copy and steal everything.
Oh, for sure. So
you make it your own in your own way, and
Stealing like an artist.
It's still new. Yep, Stealing Like an Artist. I love that book.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's great because it's helping people. It's actually working. So I'm excited about it. And round one started with 88 teacher apprentices in the pathway. Dakota State, we were able to serve 78 of them, which is
dang.
And that had to have impacted your enrollment numbers a little bit too?
Yes. So enrollment, as far as I know, it's never been higher in the middle of a teacher shortage, which is pretty exciting. And the credits that we're generating right now in our online program, the trend was kind of just slowly increasing, and then it almost like doubled. And then we'll have another huge jump this coming year. So it wasn't a couple weeks ago, I opened up 16 new sections for the fall that we need to fill with instructors before the fall begins. So
never a dull moment.
Yeah, because they'll all have 25 to 30 students in them, every one of them. So
yeah. Sounds like the college has a lot of preparing to do for this massive influx of students and everything.
Yeah, everything's good to go. There's a few, maybe 3 sections that aren't filled yet right now. So with instructors. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, starting from filling like 15 or so to only needing 3 more. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yep. So we're rolling and people are excited about it, which is fun to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. And so how, with so many parties involved in this, how do you coordinate? I know we have other schools involved too. Northern takes the secondary education students, is that correct? Yep.
Yeah, so during the first year, it basically was either weekly or bi-weekly meetings, 1 or 2 hours at a time to figure this out, like who's doing what, all the logistics. And it took, at one time, it was taking way more than half of my working hours in a week. So I'm like, oh boy, we have this going on and I have my normal job to do as well. Mm-hmm. But now it's going really smooth and takes much less time. And everybody's been a great partner. I really, I'm actually, some of my presentations going around, I talk about how awesome it's been to work with the state entities and how much value they brought to this, things that we couldn't have done on our own, but together we can do it better. That even got to Governor Noem's office. So they had a celebration this spring for our first graduate who she only graduated early because she was that close to degree completion already. And they held a celebration in the rotunda. And I was able to MC that event, and we had Governor Noem and Lieutenant Governor Roden and the Department of Education, the Department of Labor, and the teacher apprentice and her family from Wessington Springs, and some people from DSU. It was pretty awesome. And Governor Noem got up and said, hey, listen, like this is a good example of when South Dakotans work together, even with organizations, how awesome things can be. So to be a part of that, I would echo what she said. It's awesome to be a part of it.
And it benefits everyone.
Well, the big winners actually are the
youth.
Yeah, the K-12 students of South Dakota. Because think about that. If you were a principal and you had an opening to hire a teacher, would you rather choose from, a pool of 10 or 20 or 30 or 0 or 1? It's an absolute no-brainer. You're going to get better people.
A wider range of talents and abilities.
100%. Yeah. So we're literally helping to get better teachers in the hardest areas to reach in South Dakota. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah, that's Insane.
Yeah. So I feel like we're making a difference. Go Trojans.
So after that first year, like what kind of feedback did you get from everybody, like participants?
Yeah. After the first 4 weeks, I would say the participants were pretty negative because they were already full-time working humans, and now they were on average, they were taking over 13 credits that first semester.
Which is a lot to take in and just jump into.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were grateful. They were grateful to be a part of it, but they were tired and crabby from the beginning. And after the first 8 weeks, and they got their grades back and did pretty well, and they're like, okay. So after the first semester, their average GPA was over 3.5. So
that's impressive.
Yes. Yeah. And then we got to the kind of Christmas break, and then we go into the spring semester. And right now they are flying on cloud 9. So it's only gotten better because we've made some tweaks. We've listened to what their suggestions and all that to benefit round 2, that we can start with the ground running, start running right away. So
you also implemented some support things for these teacher apprentice program members, right? That help them, to give them resources to reach out to if they're struggling.
Yep. Yeah. So what we did is we figured out which state was doing the best job with a mentoring program. So the first mentoring program, or we found a state that was doing a really good job with primary mentors, we called them. And that's somebody in their school district that they can reach out to right away, like whatever their questions are. And kind of the nuts and bolts types of primary mentor. And we have a readiness checklist that gives them a framework of what they can talk about, what they can get ready for, so they can have their own classroom. And then the secret sauce is maybe the secondary mentor program, which we made up on our own. But we stole a little bit of Wyoming was doing. We stole a little bit of what Tennessee was doing, and we mashed it together. And what it is we have recently retired educators, some from DSU College of Education and some from K-12, and they reach out to the teacher apprentices 2 to 4 times a month, and their job description is listen, encourage. But there were situations where, like, if a teacher apprentice was having a struggle with a specific content course, those recently retired university people can be like, hey, we have online tutoring, and this is actually who you contact. I'll initiate an email between you and them, and then you can get the supports that you need. So they knew what supports were available, and then they connect the teacher apprentices right away. And I would say the data shows that that's working because we have a 94% retention rate with teacher apprentices, which is amazingly high.
Okay. And just for clarification for everyone, since I don't think we talked about this in the beginning, but all of these people are already working in classrooms in South Dakota, right?
Yeah, you have to be to apply for this. So a true apprenticeship model means you earn while you learn. So they're earning their degree while they're learning, while they're working in a school. And that model works pretty well because we're able to teach some stuff in the online class that they can say, hey, I tried this out yesterday and this is what happened and da-da-da-da-da. And then the whole class gets better because you have a real life group of people that you can try things on.
Sharing experiences, and then also just having the opportunity to try something out so quickly in the classroom because you're already there.
You're exactly right. Like the next day. Yeah, it works actually pretty well. So we're rolling.
Yeah.
Did you have to adapt or procure certain course curriculum to fit people who have already been working in the field?
Yeah, great question. So what we did, I talked to some of our professors. I'll never forget where I was standing when Kevin Smith, one of our great professors, said to me, he goes, I go, does the online teacher education program work? Like, don't you have to see good teaching to become a good teacher? And he's like, yeah, he goes, it's working quite well. We've been doing this doing it since 2010. And he said the best students in our online program are working paraprofessionals in classes. And I thought to myself, like, okay, that matches with the teacher apprentice like philosophy. And he was right on. And I'm hearing that from our adjuncts, instructors, and faculty members. They're like, I love working with the teacher apprentices. They're very eager, and they like to know exactly what's going to happen. And they are taking more credits. Cumulative has increased to almost 14 per semester. And their GPA has increased to 3.6 or higher on average. So they're actually improving as they go through the program.
Which is exciting news. I mean, how can you not be elated to have them so engaged?
Yes. Yeah, they are engaged. And like when I see them, it's almost like an emotional experience because they're so thankful and it's working so well because in round 1 and round 2, if you had 0 credits, you did not get into the program because there were so many people ahead of you that had credits that they could transfer in. So this whole group in round 1 and round 2 are actually either dropped out or stalled out or failed out. Nobody had a success story. So it's almost like a redemption sort of program. They already live in the school districts that they're probably going to serve in.
And they have those community relationships already built up that will only strengthen.
Yes, lots of teacher apprentices married to farmers and ranchers, which is great, right? They're going to stay there.
Yep.
So with this new cohort starting, well, actually, what was it like to see the first graduate with the student that was so close to graduation was able to complete it in May? How did that feel to have one already cross the finish line? Yeah,
it was such a big deal. It was a huge celebration in the rotunda of the Capitol building. You know, I grew up walking beans and throwing hay bales and shingling houses. And I actually thought my whole career was going to be in the construction business or owning my dad's hardware store. It was a Hardware Hank that I grew up in. So to go from like that type of stuff to being able to be a part of something like that at the statewide level, it's great. In fact, now it's blowing up to the point where we're the 7th largest teacher apprenticeship state out of all 50 states.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
That's just round 1. So round 2 just doubled it. Like we're ahead. Yes, we're ahead of like Texas, for example. Big states.
Huge states with way bigger populations.
Yes. Yeah. So.
And we're getting it done right here at DSU.
We are. Go Trojans.
South Dakota. Look at us go.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's happening now is I'm being asked to be a part of lots of webinars and panels and how do you work with the state agencies and how do you get it going in a rural state? One thing that I didn't expect that's come out of this is a good relationship with North Dakota. Now, when I first learned that North Dakota was ahead of us in the apprenticeship stuff, I'm like, what? North Dakota is like, this is unacceptable, right? So I got to know their state secretary of education. That's not what they call it, that position, and their assistant. And I work with them maybe every other week of the year. I'm co-presenting with their assistant secretary of ed at a rural education conference, and we call ourselves Team Dakota. So we're learning from them, they're learning from us, and we have a pretty good relationship growing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What does that look like going into round 2?
Well, I think what we've been careful about doing is learning from other states of really what do they do wrong, and then not do that. That's so important that we don't have to step on all of these landmines and just all fall over it the same hurdle.
Learning from each other's mistakes.
Yeah. So what it looks like with Team Dakota specifically, the last thing is they asked me to lead a webinar for their deans of their college of educations to talk about our competency-based aspect that we've built into our program. So then I could, help from a dean's perspective, help their deans. That's a practical example.
And more expansively, how is the second round going as we're getting ready to kick off? How many did you say that we have for the second round?
Yeah, right now the number is 78. It could go up to 80. There's a couple in fluctuation. Most of them are through the admission process. Over 20 have met with Addie Bora, our wonderful professional advisor. I really loves her. I know you guys are nodding. I mean, she's amazing. She's a big deal.
She does a great job with all of the students.
And when they see her, all these teacher apprentices always like hug her,
because they've formed such a close bond.
Oh, they have,
and it's always great because it's usually, over the internet, and then when they get to meet in person, it's just heartwarming.
Yeah, finally a friendly face.
Yes, yeah. And we've really streamlined everything so that all their communication goes through Addie as well. So they're not hearing from all these different organizations or groups or part of campus. We try to streamline it all through Addie. So that's going well. And then in round 2, so round 1 was 78, I believe, and then round 2 looks like it'll be 78 as well. So that's adding a lot of new students. That helps our transfer numbers pretty good in the university.
We're not complaining.
No, that's good.
I mean, so, okay, what's most exciting coming up in round 2?
Well, in this next year, what's going to happen, I predict, is we'll have about another 7 graduates at the end of December. And lots of them already have jobs, or they're on the advanced student teacher permit, which actually allows them to be the classroom instructor during their student teaching experience. So they're already making about $50,000 per year. So those student teachers go from making $15 an hour to $50,000 roughly annually. It's life-changing actually for them. So, and then we'll have more than 60 that graduate in the spring. So what's exciting about round 2 people is they have the benefit of seeing the group that's just 1 year ahead of them.
And watching them cross those milestones.
It's
get excited about doing it themselves.
That's
the next
me.
year.
That's going to be me.
Oh, yeah. And there's other little stories like I found out this week that one teacher apprentice has an identical sister that was in round 1.
And she's in round 2?
And she's in round 2.
That sounds like a great story.
And I know. And one is at West Central and one is at Lennox. And now they're both in it at the same time. That's pretty sweet, right?
That's pretty cool.
And there was that Stephanie Veltkamp, I believe, that she found out that her grandma actually attended General Beadle and got her teaching degree here.
Yes, yeah. Her grandma had alumni information on her coffee table when she visited her grandma. She's like, "Oh, Grandma, I just got accepted into Dakota State to become a teacher." And then they had like a moment where, the grandma realized that her granddaughter went to the same school as she did through this new program. Like, how good are things like that?
That sounds like a movie.
It's so good.
It's like, I might watch that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do you not end up talking about that beforehand? It's just like all of this stuff sparked over like a mug or something that was on your table.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so do you see this? I know it was approved for 3 rounds initially. Is that correct?
So the first round started with no promises of any other rounds.
Okay.
And so that was a 2-year program with COVID money, exactly $800,000. And then a legislator heard a presentation about this last fall and then called my cell phone and said, "Hey, I want to make a state appropriation to fund round 2. I said, "That sounds really good." And I helped him write a bill that for $800,000 to fund round 2. And I testified a couple times in peer about it, which is heart-stopping in itself. There's lots of rules.
I can imagine.
There's lots of rules that go along with that. But it went well. And there was only like 5 naysayer votes through all of the committees and the Senate floor and the House floor.
So overwhelmingly positive, because that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
It's crazy positive. And what was interesting is the legislator that was the prime sponsor on the bill, Roger DeGroot, he told me that when he would talk to people, the legislators would know about it and say, oh, I have a teacher apprentice in my district. So because it's such a statewide
Initiative.
program, and we have a really good map that shows how well it covers the state in round 1 and round 2. Some districts have had one in both. It's covering most of the state.
Yeah.
It's great.
So it's impossible to argue that it's not a positive.
You know, another thing that has come of this too, I'm not sure as many people knew that we had an online program for teacher education before this started. But now, if I go to conferences, every single principal in the entire state of South Dakota knows what this program is, and that DSU has an example. There was a school on a reservation that reached out to me and said that they got a grant and they want to train their 13 paraprofessionals with us as well. So we're trying to get a district-wide apprenticeship pathway going with them. And this would have never happened if, we didn't have the positive marketing. The marketing that two of you did was great as well. And also the word of mouth in South Dakota that, this is a viable option to get your teaching degree. So lots of people, in just 2 years, it's crazy.
Massive amount of buy-in.
It's going well. And it's going well mostly because of our adjuncts, instructors, and faculty members. I read every single student comment after the SOS surveys, we call them internally. And the amount of positivity that from our students right now it's like 99.9%. It's crazy high. And so when we get a bunch of happy customers out there that are learning and being prepared to do what they want to do with their goals, well, now they're telling their friends to come to us.
And hopefully it will just continue on and keep expanding.
I was to say, it sounds like you're definitely doing something right over there.
Wow. We have a good team right now. We do.
Okay, so anything else that you want to share about the program itself?
No, lots of people ask me, well, what about round 3? Right, so there's crushing pressure. I do feel to
find money for
and I do not have $800,000. So if somebody here wants to donate, like a private donation could fund round 3. A federal grant could fund round 3. Another state appropriation could fund round 3. Those are the 3 most likely ways. Earlier this week, we submitted a grant that won't fund this, but will help us launch a paraprofessional apprenticeship pathway and strengthen ed rising in the state. So we're looking at all different ways to either braid monies together and just keep the momentum going.
Is there anything else happening, new and upcoming, happening in just the College of Education and Human Performance as a whole?
No, I'm just excited to see everybody. It's been too quiet this summer in our building. Well, we've had camps, which have been wonderful. It's good to see a lot of high school kids in, but we need to get everybody back and working together.
It's always fun with the faces on campus.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have a good year.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to do a little promo for the DSU bookstore. Trojan Zone, Spirit Swag, right here that you can get on campus or online. This really nice jacket is available as well. And they're both very comfy.
Yes, so soft.
Very comfy. And dsubookstore.com is where you can get those for all your needs. So thank you for listening or watching to Cyberology. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe.
Go Trojans.
Go Trojans.